So if you stay until the end of this video, your decision-making process is going to become so much simpler. And what we're going to talk about here to ensure that your life, the decision-making in your life is smooth and effortless, is your purpose. And now I want to start with the opposite of shallowness, because when we talk about purpose, most people will go immediately to labels. What you do, your career, and what you do and what you have. But when I'm talking about purpose, we're looking a bit deeper in terms of really investigating from the inside out, not going about the external in parental, societal, in the school system, those sort of pressures determining, cool people are lawyers, good respected careers are doctors, physicists, etc. But actually going internally and sort of devising our life purpose from the inside out, because that's the fact. Most people are doing things because of external validation. That's what most people's life purpose is, to please the external. And once you see this for what it is and realize that I'm not telling you to become a menace, a societal menace. I'm telling you that there's a way to live your life smoothly where you please both the internal and the external. And it's almost as if you're not even trying. You're not trying to please anything. But when you align yourself from the inside out, you reduce the amount of friction, and therefore life begins to flow more like a river. And it's not as if you're battling parents and external pressures and you're fighting with yourself. There's no battle. So I could go more, but what do you think about that?
I feel recognizing your own purpose, there are a few signs. So for instance, if you're doing something where you always have to force yourself, there's never a moment in your day where you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'd like to do now. This is a sign of you're doing something that's an outside goal. So it's not your inner purpose, but your inner purpose speaks quite clearly to you. So this is something where you can clearly hear this inner voice, or you can feel this pull towards the activity. And you feel like, oh, I'd love doing this. And once you start doing it, then it's like, oh, I don't want to stop. And you forget time completely. And you also forget everything else in your life. And I feel this is a sign of you are close or you are connected to your purpose. So there's something within you that clicks with the activity. And it also means, it comes easy. There's no inner battle. There's no force. You just enjoy it. And this is where beautiful results come out of it, because you are enjoying it. And recognizing this makes sure, how to put this? When you recognize this and are aware and are also willing to accept that this is your purpose, then you can use this information to craft a life of flow and to craft a life where you enjoy every second.
How she concluded there tells an entire story. And it's not that figuring out your purpose is going to mean that you know exactly what the materialistic part of your life is going to become. Figuring out your purpose is more subtle than that. You don't just wake up one day, have a moment, and it's like, I'm going to do this, and that's my life. That's not your purpose. If you think that's your purpose and you're looking at it like that, it might not be your purpose. It might not be your purpose. But what we're talking about is, she hinted, you're going to lose track of time in certain activities. What are those activities in a thematic manner. I don't know if thematic is a word, but you get what I'm saying. What's the theme behind the activities which consistently make you forget about time, right? And now we have to be subtle with this because there's a gap, right? Is this activity something which is just pleasurable? Or are you actually finding joy within this activity? We don't want to confuse pleasure and joy, especially when we're talking about something as fundamental as our purpose to life. So, for example, what I feel to be my individual purpose. Now, don't imitate me, don't accept this, don't say cool, don't reject it. It doesn't matter. My purpose, irrelevant to you. But the theme behind my purpose is what you want to watch. And that is that it's the everyday, moment-to-moment living. And if I can make myself feel smooth, free of anxiety, that means that I can show up from a place which potentially has the chance to give someone else a flavor of what it means to be free from anxiety. And if I know the fact, the bottom fundamental to all of humanity is we all have this heart and mind, and we have this thing, this heart, which is behind the ego. But the fact is that all of our egos, irrelevant of the specific content, we all are continuously stuck in sequences of thought in relation to the past or the future, to what we're going to do later today, or blah, blah, blah. And if we're always thinking, continuously anxious, we never have space to actually hear our heart, the thing which is much more intelligent and behind the ego. So if I can just give people, by showing up in that manner, free from anxiety, fully here, if I can show up, give that flavor to anyone else, well, that's what I feel to be my purpose. Now, for you, you just have, how did I get there, right? Well, first I paid attention to the fact that when I was moving my body as a kid, I was so free. And then I did more of that. I kept moving my body. And throughout time, moving my body, believe it or not, led me to the profound thing which I just declared as my purpose. So it's not everything at once, it's one day at a time, especially with your purpose. There's no rush to know your purpose. There's no rush, but there is urgency. Now, rushing is coming from scarcity. Urgency is coming from the abundant form of responsibility. We, as humanity, have the responsibility to figure out our purpose. And that is urgent, but it's not a rush. The urgency is fuel. The rushing is anxiety. I digress.
This is a powerful nuance. I like this a lot. The difference between rushing and urgency. Yeah. And I'd like to add, so I love everything you said. I'd like to add, to find your purpose is based on an open mind. So you start experimenting with different activities, with things you do, people you interact, and then the awareness and observation comes in. And every time you do this, you just observe, but you don't judge. Because judging comes out of the ego. And the ego was trained by society. So when you do something and found yourself judging yourself, this means you just did something, but you can't listen to your real inner voice because society's voice is louder in your head. So drop the judging and just observe and be aware and be okay with whatever comes up. And I feel this is a nuance that takes time, and also to be okay with not judging. So for instance, years ago, I found myself judging a lot. Everything, also things that came natural to me, I was judging because I felt like, oh, this is too easy. This can't be valuable. And this is, of course, like a weird programming that I somehow received in my life. And once I was aware, I was like, wait, does this really make sense? Because if it comes easy to me, it just means it comes easy to me. So I'm just accepting the fact there is something within me that wants to do it, and there's something within me that has like a connection to the activity. And this is a good sign, and this is valuable too. And recognizing those nuances, I feel, open the door towards realizing which activities, which environments are really for you, without outer expectations or whatever coming in. And just it's an iterative process. So just starting, observing, and then not forgetting that you wanted to do this.
And so she brought up observing, and this idea came to me recently, which is the truest compass is relation to thought and other beings. So the cool part about purpose, we continuously are sprinkling in the idea that there's no rush, that this is a iterative process. It's ongoing, and that's the essence of it. You don't just finish finding your purpose. So even though I told you what I see to be my purpose, it doesn't mean that things don't evolve. But through this observing, then we get more sensitive to our relationship to our own thought and the thoughts that are created through our relationship to other beings. So it all comes down to our own thought. And the observing is the relationship. It's not the judging of thought that is the relationship, but the observing of the judging of thought. So if you're just judging your thought, you're trapped. But if you're watching how you judge your thought, which is your relationship to yourself and other beings, that's the compass. Literally, as you become more observant and you watch and watch, it becomes so obvious. Like, there isn't even a decision because of how obvious the compass is. But this is not something that I can communicate via words. I'm doing it as best as I possibly can, but it's beyond words. It's something you actually have to do. But the cool thing is you can practice it as you're listening to me and Myra right now. So ich schweifab, I digress. If you found value, probably did, what would you say was the most valuable thing that you heard in here? Or the deepest insight that you grasped? Let us know below. If you're on YouTube, like, share with a friend. I appreciate that. I do, sincerely. In podcast rating, I appreciate that. One last thing. So if this was the type of work, the energy, if you resonate with what we're talking about here, I am looking for just a couple, like 2 more individuals who are sincerely committed to this path. And specifically, if you are aiming to become free from anxiety, decrease your stress levels, increase your energy levels, and increase your confidence, anything there, if anything there resonates with you, just I'll have my email below in description. Shoot me a message and give me a little bit of context about your situation, what your goals, what your targets are. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. Last thing, Myra, her Twitter will be in description. If you resonate with what she's saying here, feel free to shoot her a DM. Okay.